Saturday from Nigeria's capital city. This is live from Abuja.
A show that takes you through events that have shaped the week in Nigeria and across the world, from politics, news, entertainment, and sports.
Hello and welcome. I am Ademola Lawrence.
I am Jane Francis Nweze.
I will start from the president trip. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has, of course, returned to Abuja after a 3-day official visit to Equatorial Guinea.
The president's visit was on the invitation of his Equatorial Guinean counterpart, President Chidoro Obiang Nguema Mbasogo. On the day, President Tinubu was received with a brief welcome ceremony at the airport after he headed to the presidential palace known as the People's Palace Court, where he met with his host president, Chidoro Obiang, and of course, it was an interesting one there. The meeting followed with signings of bilateral agreements on Gulf of Guinea pipeline project, further firming partnership for mutual development that will open up new opportunities for gas exploration and employment. Discussions
on issues relating to the creation of employment, food security, multilateral relations and conflict resolutions mechanisms on the continent also took place during a private meeting that preceded the signing of the agreement.
The agreement covered legislative and regulatory measures for the gas pipeline, establishment and operation transit of natural gas, ownership of the gas pipeline, and general principles.
We discussed various areas of complex mechanism and what are we to promote in Inaugural United Nations Assembly, promote peace and stability for our continent and growth and prosperity for that same continent in the same way that Europe and Americans have helped themselves and find a solution for the conflict, because the continent, both inadequate capital, industrialization effort, research and development programs that will enlighten our people and navigate our way through problems.
President Bola Tinubu got a vote of confidence from the National Council of State, which comprises all former heads of state alive, the 36 state governors and the Minister of the FCT, the Attorney General of the Federation, all former Chief Justices of Nigeria, the Senate President and Speaker.
This meeting discussed issues of national importance and commended the leadership of President Bola Tinubu at a critical time of economic hardship. The Council also condemned any call for unconstitutional change of power in the country.
First Council of State meeting conveyed by President Bola Tinubu in the life of his administration. Also the first time former President Muhammadu Buhari will return to the council chambers of the presidential villa, where he once sat to preside over crucial matters of the country. But beyond the roll call of members that constitute the Council of States, critical matters that portray the state of the nation were discussed. The council condemned the violence that marred last week's nationwide protests. They also commended Nigerians for resisting the manipulations of some elements pushing for unconstitutional regime change.
So after the NSA's briefing, generally he allayed everybody's fears and spoke on the tightness of the security around the country, and also reassured all and sundry that nobody will be allowed to truncate our hard-earned democracy.
Overall, President Bola Tinubu got thumbs up from the Council of State. His reforms and policies, though yet to fully manifest, are being implemented in the interests of Nigerians.
There was an executive session between members of the Nigerian Governors Forum and Mr. President. And frank and fruitful discussions were held between both parties, and I'm glad to say we're on the right track.
The Council of State's role is purely advisory, but also crucial in guiding government policies and administration. The coordinating minister of the economy reported an optimistic economic outlook, but pointed out President Bola Tinubu's dissatisfaction with the high inflation. However, he says the trend has slowed down.
In broad terms, the economy is growing. The balance of payments, in particular, the trade balance and the current account balance, are in surplus. The exchange rate is stabilizing. And inflation, though high, uncomfortably high for the liking of Mr. President and his team, it is slowing and it is set to fall.
The governors later met privately with President Bola Tinubu on the sidelines of the Council of State meeting to discuss some undisclosed issues. The last time the Council of State meeting was held was in February last year, in the build-up to the general election.
And joining us to speak more on these two events as the public affairs analyst Jide Ojo. Good morning, Mr. Jide.
Good morning. How are you? Happy weekend.
Happy weekend to you too. Okay, let's just go straight. Two issues that we're looking at: the president visit, of course, to Equatorial Guinea, and of course the National State Council that was, of course, organized. The Council of State passed a vote of confidence on President Tinubu. First, what's your take on this, considering all that has happened in the last 1 year of his administration and some of the economic hardship Nigeria is facing currently?
Well, I think the optics is good for the president. The optics is good to the extent that his colleague, former president, endorsed him, passed a vote of confidence in him. And not just them, 4 of them that attended, 2 virtually and 2 physically. It's also, the Council of State also has in attendance, or had in attendance, the governors of the 36 states and some ministers, and all of them came out to give vote of confidence. Although I must hasten to say that issue around vote of confidence is not synonymous with presidential system of government. It's with the parliamentary system where vote of confidence is desired for you to stay in government. But nevertheless, like I said, the optics is very good. 7 ministers made presentation at that event and gave an up-to-date account of what the Tinubu administration is doing in the last 14 months. And the National Security Advisor also spoke about the state of play in terms of security, how things are being done. So it's very good. It's a very good development for him. However, I think the endorsement that he needs is the people of Nigeria. It's more the people of Nigeria than the elders or the political elite. Because you cannot ignore the fact that while the Council of State launched out at those who went on protest that they wanted to effect an unconstitutional change of government, we know that that is just a section of the protesters. It's not the entire protesters that actually were pushing for the change of government. It's limited to a section of the country. But the issue around high cost of living and hunger is very pervasive. It's pervasive. So I think the president must also get the message that he needs to double down on the rising cost of living. I appreciate the fact that he spoke to Nigerians on August 4th and initiated all the efforts he's been able to make and is making, like cultivating 10 million hectares of land, bringing in tractors from Belarus, Brazil, and US, support to farmers, In fact, after that presidential speech, we've also had that there are now military deployments across some states to provide security for farmers so that they can stay on their farms without let or hindrance. So this is what I think the popularity rating of the president is more important than the vote of confidence he received. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, well, Jide, with all that you've said, and also trying to talk about the fact that he needs the vote of confidence of the people, and I'm wondering, in the last 14 months, also we've seen a good number of policies from the present administration. When do you think these policies will start making sense to the Nigerian people? For them to give that vote of confidence, considering that you've also highlighted, the present state of living in the country. So looking at the policies, when do you think it would ever make sense to them?
When all those beautiful initiatives that he rolled out, I happened to write for the Punch newspaper, and I did analysis of his speech in my column on the 7th of this month, I think the Wednesday that followed the presidential address. And I said, Mr. President has never been so specific, so data-driven in his speech as he did in that presidential address on August 4th. And I called out that we need to fact-check the president on many of the things he mentioned. Now, when will Nigerians start having vote of confidence in it? When the CNG buses are deployed and the cost of transportation comes down. We saw last Monday, is it 10, 20 or 30 CNG buses were brought to him. He unveiled them. But this is just for the optics. We are here to see them on the road. So when they are massively deployed and the cost of transportation drops, people will start to appreciate his effort. When we start seeing significant drop in the cost of food, whose inflation is over 40% as at present, when people can basically afford, I mean, the other day a mudu of beans was going for almost 4,000 naira per mudu here in Abuja. And you ask yourself, if it sells for that much here in Abuja, I wonder how much it will be selling in Lagos, when you have the cost of transportation. And so when that food production significantly improves, and people with small money can now afford to buy food, whether raw food or cooked food, they can eat, then you will start seeing them making a 360-degree turnaround and say, oh, this president has our interest at heart. When people start getting jobs, the student loan scheme, you could see that just a few days after the presidential address on August 4th, there are now, the president spoke to it that about, is it 54 billion has been processed for disbursement. And just in the course of this week, we learned that University of Ibadan has received over 200 million naira for its students who applied for the NEFON loans, that student loan scheme. When people start feeling the impact, positive impact of governance, when they start having improvement in their standard of living, and nobody will tell them to put vote of confidence in the president. And this cannot be done by President Tinubu alone. I've said this on several media platforms. The subnationals must double down too. The subnationals must also contribute their own quota. For instance, when the president was talking about 11 million hectares of land for cultivation, he said the state will provide the land because federal government does not have land. So the states are going to provide the land, the federal government will provide the incentives. Don't also forget, when the president rolled out 1 trillion naira economic relief packages last month, he did say that 10 billion naira will be given to each of the state governors to procure CNG buses. By the time we have all these states launching their own CNG buses, deploying them, and people for places where they have to pay 500 naira, they are now paying 200 naira. Of course, they will start seeing the positive impact because it will rub up. Look at the housing. The president said he intends to build 100,000 housing units in 3 years. By the time people benefit from this low housing scheme, they will start singing his praises. So there are several, all those who are beneficiaries of nano.
All right, Mr. Junior.
And medium enterprises. No.
Yeah, so
definitely sing his praises.
All right. Okay. So I can understand all of the things that you have highlighted. What the Nigerian people actually want to see is the dividends of democracy and the promises that Mr. President has made in his campaign, and they actually want to see it. Enough of the rhetorics. That's what Nigerians are saying. We just want to see all of this work. But it goes up, beyond the shores of Nigeria. What hardship, economic hardship, goes beyond the shores of Nigeria. Now, let's talk about President Tinubu's 3-day visit to Equatorial Guinea, of course, which focused on areas like oil and gas, security, and others. What do you think one should expect from such bilateral relationship? Looking at the fact that the president has said that Nigeria has more gas than the crude oil. So, what should be the focal points for Africa to trade with themselves? Because the AFCTA is not even as pronounced as we want to see it. So, what should be the way forward in terms of bilateral relations between Africa and, of course, narrowing down to Nigeria and Equatorial Guinea?
Now, thank you very much for raising that issue. Before the African Continental Free Trade Agreement area, we had AGOA, which was initiated by a former American president. You see, problem with Africa is that there are so many logistical challenges and bureaucracies that has prevented smooth trade relations, trade and investment among African countries. So for instance, now there are places you want to fly to in Nigeria that you may have to. There are places in Africa you want to fly to that you may have to first fly to Paris before you come and land back in Africa. It tells you some of those, challenges of traveling, aviation, and also even the so-called eco currency that have been mooted for so many years among the West African sub-region. We have not been able to have that eco currency seeing the light of the day. Then, we produce the is it the president or chairman of World Trade Organization? That's Dr. Ongo. All our solid minerals are exported in raw form. Our agricultural products are exported in raw form. Our crude oil is exported in raw form. There is no value addition. And this is robbing us of huge revenue. So there is high revenue loss because Mrs. Okonjo-Iweala has made this point severally, that why Nigeria and Africa is not taking maximum advantage of the opportunities with World Trade Organization is because we have failed to add value to our products and what we produce across African continent. So that is also part of the challenge. We also have issue of manpower. Maybe we don't have the requisite skill set to do some of these things. And that is also militating. But coming to the issue of the 3-day visit of President Tinubu to Equatorial Guinea. They have signed a number of agreements, again, on the issue of oil and gas. I think they are talking of pipeline, just like the AKK that is supposed to link Nigeria to Europe. They are also talking of, laying pipeline across to
okay, so Jide,
across the Subi.
Jide,
yes,
so now when you look at this 3 days visit, also it provided an opportunity for the president to engage with African leaders on the mass exodus of skills from Africa. And I'm wondering, beyond this engagement, so he's talking about making deliberate effort to stop that. So how exactly can these engagements help in curbing the migration, the massive migration from Africa?
I was coming to that. You see, we don't have the required skill set in the first place. The few that we have are taking refuge there. As we say in local parlance, they are jackpying to senior clients because of motivations, incentives that they stand to gain. Look at our ICT sector in Nigeria. We produce a lot of young people who are ICT savvy, but many of them are now running to Canada, to US, to UK, because there is higher demand for their skills. The same thing within the medical profession, medical and dental skills. So the point is Africa doing enough to incentivize its youth? There is a newly launched policy by the Ministry of Health aimed at bringing back some of our diasporan medical practitioners. I hope it works. But I think all African countries need to do a lot more to retain their best brains, to make sure that we provide the enabling environment for them to thrive. Not that it's only when they go abroad that they can excel. Look at sports. In the area of sports, unless you go to Europe to ply your trade as a footballer or as an athlete, you are most likely going to be very limited if you stay as a local athlete or a local footballer. And the mega box is not there. So where the mega box is in Europe, is in America, is in the Caribbean. So what we need to do is very staring us in the face. We need to provide the enabling environment. It must start with security. How do we secure the lives of ordinary citizens?
Well,
this whole narrative of every day there's mass kidnapping.
Jide, we really cannot exhaust this topic. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for all the insights you have given, on this very topic this morning, on the two events that we talked about. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll go straight to the headline news.
Life is politics. In Nigeria, almost every part of our lives is touched by the politics we play. Governance, legislative matters, the economy, security, foreign affairs, internal affairs. Have a feel as strategic plays in the political space determine how we live in Nigeria. The players, the drama, chess piece moves. Be kept informed. Watch analysis of major happenings in the political space and how it affects you. Watch Politics on Sunday.
In Africa, President Bola Tinubu has launched the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority Healthcare Expansion Program and retaining of 120,000 frontline health workers. The first initiative, the Healthcare Expansion Program, is a major milestone in the health sector as 10 world-class healthcare facilities specializing in oncology and diagnostics will be established across the nation's 6 geopolitical zones.
Director General of the World Health Organization has declared the Mpox outbreak a public health emergency of international concern. Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus determined that the upsurge of mpox in the Democratic Republic of the Congo and a growing number of countries in Africa constitutes a public health emergency of international concern, following an advice from an International Health Regulations Emergency Committee. Independent experts reviewed data from affected countries.
And the National Judicial Council has recommended Honorable Justice Kudirat Kekereekun to President Bola Tinubu for appointment as the Chief Justice of Nigeria. This recommendation was made at the NJC's 106th meeting, presided over by the Honorable Chief Justice of Nigeria, Honorable Justice Olukayode Ariwola.
President of the Senate National Association of Nigerian Students, Afiz Akinte, has commended the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission over its 50 billion naira contribution to Education Loan Fund, NEL Fund. Recall that the EFCC disclosed the fund's injection into NEL Fund when the fund's Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Akintunde Soya, led its management team on a courtesy visit to the EFCC headquarters in Abuja.
And Nigeria's Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Honorable Ekperike recently announced the revitalization of gas-to-power initiative, marking a strategic shift into the country's approach to harnessing its abundant natural gas resources. This initiative is designed to enhance electricity generation, foster economic development, and boost Nigeria's global competitiveness by focusing on the comprehensive development and utilization of gas resources.
In business, the Nigeria Customs Service has announced the implementation of the duty waiver on essential food imports effective from July 15, 2024 through December 31, 2024 to make basic food commodities more affordable. In July, the federal government approved a 150-day duty-free window to facilitate the importation of maize, husked brown rice, and wheat as part of measures to address escalating food inflation.
And despite global economic hiccups, the Central Bank of Nigeria has reported a sharp rise in international payment totaling $3.3 billion in the first 5 months of 2024. This represents a significant 30.8% increase from the $2.353 billion recorded during the same period in 2023, according to a recent data released by the Apex Bank.
Outside Nigeria, former President Donald Trump said he thinks he is entitled to personal attacks on his Democratic rival, adding that he's very angry at Vice President Kamala Harris on questioning her intelligence. Trump was asked during a news conference if his campaign needs more discipline as he faces a Democratic ticket, newly energized since Harris replaced President Joe Biden as the party's presidential candidate.
Interesting. A Palestinian man has been killed and several people were injured after dozens of Israeli settlers went on a rampage and attacked a village in the occupied West Bank, drawing widespread condemnation. The Palestinian Health Ministry said on Friday that 23-year-old Mahmoud Habel Kada Asada was shot, and then another Palestinian suffered a critical gunshot wounds to the chest in the attack at the village of Jit, east of Kalkia.
Wow.
Interesting.
The Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention says the country is expecting 10,000 doses of the genius vaccine as it considers the vaccination for high-risk groups for mpox.
It is also intensifying surveillance across the country to swiftly detect and respond to the new cases of mpox. This comes after the World Health Organization declared the disease a public health emergency of international concern on Wednesday. We want to actually warn that some of these visuals are not really pleasant to the eyes.
Mpox cases is due to a new strain of the virus which emerged in eastern Congo and has since been detected in Kenya, Rwanda and Uganda. So far, about 2,863 confirmed cases and 517 deaths across 13 African countries have been reported this year alone. In Nigeria, a total of 39 confirmed cases with no deaths have been recorded across 33 states and the FCT from January this year.
The virus has been detected here.
The Nigeria Center for Disease Control says it is putting all port health services across all 5 international airports, seaports and land crossing borders on high alert.
We are working with the port health services. Along this line, 5 designated international airports and some key seaports, including land and foot crossing borders, have been placed on high alert. Declaration forms have been distributed to airlines, especially those coming in from countries where there is an ongoing outbreak of Mpox in the last 90 days. Treatment protocols and diagnostic tool protocols according to the IDSR are now distributed to various states. All states have also been put on high alert, including Lagos, Abuja, Enugu, Kano, Rivers State, Cross Rivers, Akwa Ibom, Adamawa and Taraba.
The Disease Control Agency also says the National Mpox Technical Working Group will continue to coordinate Mpox response activities across the country.
The exact reservoir of the virus is still unknown, although rodents, squirrels, and monkeys are suspected to play a part in transmission. The Mpox virus can spread from both animal and human, and animal to human, and also from human to human.
The World Health Organization had declared the ongoing Mpox outbreak as a public health emergency of international concern just about 24 hours after the Africa Center for Disease Control declared it a public health emergency of continental security due to an upsurge of cases in the Democratic Republic of Congo and a growing number of countries in Africa.
Early intervention and educational services combined with support networks has led to huge improvements and some progress in the lives of children with special needs. The Stella Obasanjo Child Care Trust has been doing this, and it is one of the legacies the late former First Lady left behind for Nigerians. Many decades later, after Stella Obasanjo's death, the trust still stays strong.
The center is doing a lot in catering for the welfare of children with special needs, Down syndrome, autism, cerebral palsy, children with disability, and also many of them. It was recently relaunched with support from the Petra Speech and Early Childhood Developmental Center, which will be assisting the center on technical expertise to support in creating awareness and visibility as it seeks to support from parents and the government to address some of the challenges plaguing the center. We are now joined by the founder of Petra Speech and Early Childhood Developmental Center, as well as the child care experts, Princess Inwakego Ibrahim Pan. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
I hope I've got your name right.
Yes, you did.
Okay, so let's just look at these issues. Tell us why you decided to take up this job first as the home mother of the center.
I've been in the special needs education field for the past 30 years. And then I had to relocate outside the country with my husband, which put a break to the work I already started in Nigeria. Far back in 1994, we were one of the first people who went into special needs education due to my training as an English linguistic graduate from the University of Jos. And so, and since I left the country, I've been practicing the special needs work in different continents, in North Africa, in Europe, in Asia, and now trying to establish in the US. But I came back home for a vacation, and a friend who happened to be the wife of an ambassador, we lived together in South Korea. She had wanted to celebrate her birthday at the orphanage or special needs center, and she invited me, and so I obliged her. And it happened to be the Stella Obasanjo Child Care Trust Center. And when I went in there, I fell in love with it. Why? It's the kind of structure I've been dreaming about to establish for the past 20 years. So I said to myself, if this kind of structure exists, why want to start something when there's an existing structure? Why not upgrade it, make it to be like a pilot project for what I intend to do? And so that was the beginning of negotiation with the center for the past We started talking about 2 years ago when I went for the birthday with the director, and then 9 months ago it went to the other level of signing an MOA with them. And so Stella Obasanjo, former First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, had a vision. A vision at the time she had it, very few people could align themselves to what she saw. And here we are, almost 20 years after her death, and special needs education is coming to the fore. And so I'm just somebody who believes in building on what somebody built on that aligns to my vision. She just was building that place like it was in my imagination. So that is the affinity I have with the place. That is the passion I have, that we share something in common, the love for special needs children and their families. So when we talk about special needs, we're not just referring to the children. It's a holistic community we have there. They have siblings, they have parents, and they have friends. So at this Stella Obasanjo Child Care Center, my aim is to bring in the expertise that the children need, the early intervention that can actually make them more functional in society and be more beneficial to themselves.
All right. So, well, I think in some other interview you had mentioned, you know, that the center could take 120 children.
Exactly.
But presently you have about 26 children.
Exactly.
And so now, are you asking for more? You know, what's inspiring this relaunch to ask for more children to join the 26 that you already have?
I'll start with, I'm somebody who don't like doing things in a grandeur fashion. We need to meet the need of the 26 children right now. From what we've been working on, the 26 children at the center are not properly fed, number one. Their accommodations are not in good condition, number two. The classrooms are not properly furnished, number three. They don't have the clinical equipment and assessment centers they need. They need a therapeutic center, non-existent. They need the language center, non-existent. They need a clinic, because right now as we speak, in the medical field, very few medical doctors know how to deal with the special needs children, exactly the protocol needed for them to get to where they should be. So the essence of this is to launch the center, to try to equip it to an international standard. And once that is done, then we'll have the capacity. There's no need bringing more children when the children in the center already are not having the full benefit of the structure that is in existence. So the relaunch on the 22nd of August is to ask stakeholders, to ask families, to ask friends, and to ask people that have the means of making that center to an international standard to come and join us on Thursday, to come and contribute their quota in making sure that we turn that center, the Stella Obasanjo Child Care Center, into an international pilot project for other special needs institutions around the country.
So, you know, one of the issues that we face basically in the country is the issue of inclusion.
Yes.
You know, and it's a big one.
Yes.
Not just with, you know, people with special needs, people with disabilities. You know, even during election, we also find all of these things very, very critical.
Yes.
So, how much more can we begin to have a sense of inclusion for these people with special needs?
Right now, I've been on this for quite some time. Every year I came back to Nigeria for the past 6 years. I go around different institutions that have maybe a department of special needs or one classroom for special needs. And the truth of the matter is that we have not yet mastered what inclusive education is all about. People think that because you have a regular school and you have one class for special needs, then you are inclusive. No. Inclusive education means how do the special needs children and the regular children interact daily through their schoolwork, through social skills, through emotional interaction. There are schools that have special needs classes that are still exclusive. because they do not have the curriculum or the skilled teachers to integrate both regular kids and the special needs children together. So what we're trying to do in Obasanjo Child Care Trust Center is to start an inclusive setting. We're asking regular kids from nursery to primary 3, because we don't want to do it to primary 6 yet, because the children we have there, even though some of them are 30, 28, 22, they have the capacity of 3-year-old, 6-year-old, 9-year-old mental age. So we want to bring those children of that age, mental age, with the children already we have in the center, so that we can infuse them into regular setting. And at the same time, that is why we're asking for a therapeutic center. So 2 or 3 hours of the week, we extract them and give them the one-to-one teachings they need at the therapeutic center.
Okay, so I mean, earlier you had enumerated a good number of challenges that the school have, which is the reason why you're limiting it to the number that you have now until the relaunch. We're all hoping it's going to be a success. And now my question is, in what ways, how can people partner to achieve this? That's one. And then also, you know, what kind of benefits can we get if these special needs children are taken care of? Because I think those are kind of things that would motivate one to want to be a part of this.
Thank you for that question. How do we benefit as a community,
as a community,
as a society? I'll just give an example of what happened 2 weeks ago when we were having a training session. A parent, a husband and a wife, and their 9-year-old daughter came in for a place for refuge. Since she was born, her mom had not worked for 9 years. She's lived her life for the 9-year-old daughter. And now she has a medical situation that she needs to be operated on. So they came to the center in the hope that we run for the year to drop the child, because there's no other caregiver at home or anywhere else that would take care of this child, for the mother to go for this needed medical surgery. One. The effect of having a special needs child in a family not only affects a family economically, it affects them mentally. It takes one of the parents to give up their life to be able to take care of this child. So when you multiply that, right now as we speak, we have about 6.5% of our population that are special needs children. If you multiply that by 25%, you can imagine how many families, as we're speaking right now in Nigeria, that are suffering from economic hardship, not because they do not have the qualification to work, but because they have a special needs child that they need to cater for 24/7. So that is one of the impact in society. Right now as we speak, we have 99.5% of the special needs children that are not in school. I say to people, special needs children are not different. They just learn differently. If they are properly taken care of, if early intervention are given to them, we'll have them to do minor things where they can create income for themselves and their family and support their family. But because we have not gotten it right, then it seems as if they are a burden to their family. So the key here is getting the protocol for the special needs children right. Early intervention, policies and regulations that provide the fund that makes these establishments that take care of these children to function at the capacity that we can see the result.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
I think the discussion kind of made me a bit emotional.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll still have more for you in sports and entertainment. We'll be right back.
Have a feel as strategic plays in the political space determine how we live in Nigeria. The players, the drama, chess piece moves. Be kept informed. Watch analysis of major happenings in the political space and how it affects you. Watch Politics on Sunday.
And out to entertainment, 7 artists, 5 painters, and 2 sculptors have collaborated on a week-long exhibition in Abuja. The exhibition, titled Audacity of Creativity, was put together to feature diverse themes, styles and materials, techniques, and all geared towards one purpose of establishing the bold statement that art creation make.
From the use of oil colors and acrylic fabrics, wood, metals, paper, quartz, and a lot more, artists use all this to speak with one voice to show there's unity in diversity. And joining us live is an artist, exhibitor, and the former assistant of the former governor of Akwa Ibom State on Culture and Tourism. Good morning, Godwin.
Thank you. Good morning.
All right, and then, so tell us about your artistic side and why you decided to go into arts.
Oh, well, I was trained in the University of Rio. I came out as an artist and have been a studio practicing artist till now. Together with other contemporary artists in Nigeria and outside Nigeria, we came up with that exhibition, Audacity of Creativity. And I have done a lot of exhibitions before now, like exhibiting, welcoming the ambassador of America to Nigeria back some years ago. I have exhibited in my state. I have exhibited a lot of, I've gone a lot of solo and joint exhibitions conducted by Society of Nigerian Artists.
Okay, so tell us why this collaboration effort between you and other artists. Why
the sculptors, the painters, the artists?
Like we say, artists make a family, and one is not complete without the other. So we had to come together to exhibit and to show the diverse forms of arts. Sculptors came out with their own skills, and the painters also came out with their own skills. And we came together because we wanted to show to Nigerians that instead of sitting back at home or thinking evil, you can be creative. You can be creative. You bring out things on contemporary issues and things that affect life itself.
Okay, so now, why the choice of the topic, Audacity of Creativity?
Well, the audacity of creativity, as the name implies, it shows how audacious art can be. It shows how firm and how should I say how positive art can be. That is why we came out with that name, and that art can speak loud. Arts can speak loud, and arts can penetrate the minds and the psyche of individuals.
You talk about art can speak loud. This is a 1-week exhibition. Tell us some of the highlights that you think that it does resonate with the people, or that will resonate with the people.
Well, come up again.
I'm saying that you're saying that art can speak loud.
Yeah.
And this is an exhibition for a week.
Okay.
So just give us an highlight of what some of the things that you think that resonates with the people, or that you thought could resonate with the people.
Well, the 1-week exhibition. Why we did 1 week and with the choice of Transcorp Hilton is because we know that is the center of Nigeria. We know a lot of people go there, and being there, we know that if one person sees the exhibition or one person comes around, he will tell another person, "Oh, come around and see what is happening here." And so we are sure the 1 week went down. Although if we had a longer time, we would have stayed. But I think the 1 week has done the magic.
Right. 1 week has done the magic, and I'm sure a lot of people, you know, were happy to be there. How
so
long
happy.
do you? Yeah. So, how long does it take you to have an exhibition, and what actually inspires, you know, you to sit and say, I need to have an exhibition? I think it's due. Well,
I think the artist has a studio time. We stay in our studios and work, and when there is that call, or when you feel, because artworks are living things, they do make statements. There are times you will do a particular work, and sometimes the work will tell you, I need to speak out, I need to go out, I need to speak to the people. It is not only you, but the arts themselves. As you enter your gallery, your studio, they will tell you, Master, I need to go out, I need to speak to the people. That is when you feel your arts. You can open the door to your arts, and they will go out and speak to the people.
Right. Thank you very much for this,
Thank you very much
for sharing this with us this morning.
All right, let's go to sport now. Nigeria's dismissal performance at the recent Olympics has sparked national conversation on the state of sport in the country.
A conversation the Minister of Sports Development, John Owan-Eno, hopes will reinvent Nigeria's sports.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Yeah.
It is overtaken by insurgents in the northeast. More Nigerians who fled to neighboring countries are now returning to these communities. This influx of returnees has raised another concern of reintegration, as a sharing of food ration is unsustainable.
It is crucial that we make sure that
we're very sorry for that mix-up, but of course, you know, the minister has just been talking from the very first performance and trying to explain why Nigerians did not have it as he promised and as they expected.
All I just wanted to say is the accountability for the 12 billion naira.
Well, accountability for the 12 billion naira, and I have told you before also, you don't buy the medals. So the 12 billion naira came for traveling, for paying athletes, but these are actually monies that athletes should have gotten or should be getting over the years for proper participation, proper engagement of coaches and all that. Well, I mean, it's not like Nigeria have been having a great time at the Olympics.
I heard you. I'm just saying, inject that 12 billion naira into the Nigerian economy. You see what I mean? Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much for being with us this Saturday morning.
All right. My name is Ademola Lawrence. Join us next week as we bring you stories happening in sport, entertainment, lifestyle, and politics.
Well, stay tuned to TVC News and also on our various social media platform on YouTube. It is TVC News Nigeria. X and Instagram is TVC News NG. I am Jane Francis Mweze.